It is just over 12 midnight. It's 12:01 a.m. here on a brand new episode of Dylan Knows. It is Sunday, November 27th, now officially 12:01 a.m. Reason why I'm starting later than usual. I usually do 11:30 start time for my show, but due to this episode 475, Slow News Week, it was Thanksgiving week, so not a whole hell of a lot of stuff happened this week. So very limited amount of stuff. I would assume it will be a miracle if I get this episode up to 1 hour. So strap on for a very quick one episode. We got still some good stuff though. I will review with spoilers the outstanding, incredible, amazing, surprisingly heartfelt, great, fantastic, new classic Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special on Disney Plus. That's since I'm wearing my Guardians of the Galaxy shirt. I will detail my Thanksgiving. I'm going to get a little personal here. Normally, with my new show, Conversation with Myself, which I did a new episode on Friday, so you can check that out as well. I do a little bit more personal stuff, but this one, since I have a slow news week, let's do a little bit more talk about my Thanksgiving here. We did have some death, and we do have some information, and we have some stuff going on, and we have the official oldest United States citizen and the oldest cat in the world as well. Conspiracy theory, board games, football, a lot of anniversary stuff, which is going to be probably the majority of my things here. And I said some death, and I gotta make sure I get that right. So this will be a quick and easy one. So first, the depressing stuff. It is now officially Sunday, the 27th of November, which means that my lovely, amazing 4-day Thanksgiving weekend is just about to end here. Still got 24 hours to go. "24 hours from now, I will be in bed, getting ready to have to get up at 5 a.m. to go to work on Monday, the 28th. My wife is lucky enough. She still's got 3 more days off for vacation because of her company. Their year starts in December. So she needs to burn all her vacation time before November 30th because she only gets to carry 5 days over, but the rest of it just disappears if she doesn't use it. So use it or lose it sort of thing. So she's been off since November 18th from her job. So, which actually in reality isn't really that much because the 18th was a Friday. So she was going to be off the weekend anyway. And then the 3 days leading to Thanksgiving, they're closed on Thanksgiving anyway, the floating holiday on Black Friday, another weekend, and then 3 more days. So it was like 8 days she was off in general for her killing her vacation time. I still have 2.5 days of vacation left. I do have a vacation day coming up December 9th, I believe, which will be like a Friday before my daughter's birthday. That way I can do some last minute shopping if I need to. And then that gives me about 1.5 days to figure out what I'm going to do that with. I might take another day here and there sometimes in later December for potential Christmas shopping again. And then a half day, I might just kill that and just say, go ahead and take it. I don't care. Because the way the holidays are ranging out this year is they're on the weekend this year. So Christmas and New Year's are both on the weekend. So we will get that Monday after the holiday off. So Christmas Day is on the Sunday. So we'll get the 26th off. New Year's Eve is New Year's Day is on Sunday. So we'll get the 2nd of January off. So, but because the Eve part, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve is also on Saturday. It's not going to be a big deal. Now, at work, probably the 23rd, we'll probably have a half a day like we usually do on Christmas Eve because that's how it usually seems to work out. But on the 30th of December, I do not foresee us leaving early because usually on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, rather, we leave about 2 hours early. I do not foresee that happening on the 30th of December. So maybe I'll take the half day there just to start my holidays a little bit sooner. So we'll see. We'll see how all things work out. But that's how that goes. So I'm a little depressed about that. It went by really, really fast, as it usually does. And I, again, feel like I've done nothing. I got some Christmas stuff up. I took the Halloween stuff down finally. I got some Christmas lights over my windows indoors. I got my spotlight on my house. I got my solar powered snowflakes that light up with the sun out as well. And I got one of my wall hangings, two of my wall hangings up, and I got a couple candles put on my mantle. I have this closet right there. You can't see it in my closet. There's my Christmas closet. I got like 4 bins of stuff that I just need to clear out. But the problem is, before I actually start decorating fully for Christmas, we've been living a bit of a mess at the house upstairs. So we need to clean up the living room a little bit, which is where the majority of the stuff goes. And I've been trying to I have this greenery that I put over my mantle. I can't find it anywhere. So I don't know what I did with that. So I might have to just dig through all this stuff to find it. And then I have a bin that's just all my outdoor stuff. So we'll see what happens. So I'll get to them eventually. I'm probably not going to do it tomorrow, or rather, I should say later today, because I promised my son I'd play Fortnite with him. And then I want to watch the Ravens versus Jaguars game. And then I just have to get myself prepped for back to school or back to work again. Being off 4 days has been kind of nice. Oh, well, but that's that. So my Thanksgiving itself was not as great as I guess I was anticipating. We went to my stayed up late on Wednesday night, a little too late, so I went to bed about, I guess, two-ish, I guess. So I got up before the parade. So I got about 8:45. So I wasn't actually there in time to put the parade on. The parade was fun for a little bit. So I watched a little bit of the musical part of the parade when I got a phone call from my mother and she wanted to talk. So I talked for about 40 minutes with my mom. So I missed a lot of the parade. And then I went back down and watched the rest of the parade. So it was kind of nice. I don't know, it wasn't quite the same, I guess, because of what's happening with my mom. And it just seemed a little, I don't know, out or off. And I had just actually gone through a rough medical week this week. I think I was constipated this week, and it was having a lot of painful issues that it took a while. So I think my body healed itself. And I'm feeling okay now, but it took a lot out because I've been extraordinarily tired this whole week, the 4-day weekend. So I haven't really been doing much. And then got dressed, and then we took separate cars down to my in-laws' house because my wife and daughter were going to spend the night, Thanksgiving night, and go shopping with my mother, her mother, and her sisters, and our niece and our daughter for a Black Friday. So they spent the night down there. So me and my son left about, I guess, 8:45-ish, I guess, and got home about 9:30. So that was good. And then we played some Fortnite, and then I stayed a little later than that. I let my son stay up to about 11:30, and then he went to bed about midnight, and then I stayed up till about 2 again, doing stuff. And then Friday, I slept till 10. My son slept till 9. So that was crazy. So we did that. And then we just sort of sat around and did nothing. Watched played some video games. Looked at my phone, finished my Yellowstone book, which I hadn't done yet, I finally got to that. So I finished that off. So another book to my Goodreads section. So that was fun. So I got that done. And then just, didn't really do much. I didn't really feel much like doing anything. So I got dressed, and then I think I went and what did I do Friday? I don't know if I actually went out and did anything else on Friday, and then just sort of, just bounced around, I guess. I don't remember what else happened I did on Friday. Then my wife and daughter came home, and then we just sort of chilled for that, went and got pizza. And then after pizza, we watched, I think it was Mannequin and Weekend at Bernie's, or we did that on Wednesday. I'm trying to remember. I think we did that on Wednesday. We watched Coming to America and what was the other one we watched? And then another movie. I forgot we watched the other movie we watched on Friday. And then today, my daughter had to get up, and then I stayed up late after to watch my friend Shocktor, who's streaming the new Pokemon game, and I stayed up till 3 o'clock on Friday into Saturday, um, and then slept until about 9:30 today. My daughter and wife went and started working on my daughter's Eagle project, so we did that, and then again just sat downstairs, looked at my phone, read, um, goofed around, so whatever. Then did my laundry, got dressed, and just sort of started clearing up some of the Christmas stuff or the Halloween stuff, putting some of the Christmas stuff out, but not a lot because we need to clean up the tables that I need for our decorations before I put those out as well. So again, then we watched Dead Poet Society and the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas or holiday specials, they're calling it. And then just they went and had their showers, and then we stayed with them for a little while, and then I'm doing this. So yeah, as I said, I'll probably finish this up within an hour, probably, and then probably stay up again till about 2 o'clock. Maybe not, maybe 1:30, but it'll be late because I just like to chill for a little bit after I do a show, and then sleep in till whenever 9:30. It's usually what I do on the weekends, and then get up and eat coffee, drink coffee, eat donuts, and just chill out. Then shower, shave, maybe play some Fortnite before then. Shower, shave, and then watch Ravens football with the Jaguars. And after Ravens football, I don't know what I'm going to do after that. So, yeah. So I did my show on Friday too. That's what they did. So just kind of didn't do much. Thanksgiving weekend, it felt like a lost weekend, and that's just, it tends to be my lost. The weekends, the long weekends tend to be lost weeks most times. I'm just so tired nowadays. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that. But no, Thanksgiving itself was okay. Company was okay. I was able to sit down and watch the football pretty much by myself for most of the time. My son came in periodically. My father-in-law came in a little bit. My mother-in-law came in a little bit. My other nephew Carson came in a little bit, so not a lot, but watched the really good Detroit game. Was cheering for Detroit because it's like their one game. It's the one time where they're like, the main focus of stuff, and they almost won that game against the Bills, but gave them too much time at the end of the game, and they lost that one, which kind of sucked. And then we hate Dallas, and then watch them play the Giants and see them win that one. That was awful. And then I didn't watch the third one because we were on the road when it started, and then I just didn't have any desire to want to watch it because that's boring. Hors d'oeuvres were fine. They're always good at my in-laws' house. It was only 11 of us. We were missing my sister-in-law, brother-in-law, my two nephews. And that would have been a little bit more interesting because my brother-in-law, Mike, likes to watch more football and hang out with me more so than my other brother-in-law. So just sort of chilling, and then the whole thing with my mom, I had to explain it to my in-laws because they knew a little bit about it, but not too much. So I had to deal with that. And the food was good. It was just kind of just a blah Thanksgiving, really, to be honest. And you build it up in your head so much, and then it just sort of doesn't play out as you expect it to. But yeah, what do you expect? So moving on from that, I will get to the Guardians of the Galaxy special review in a little bit. I just want to clear some of this other stuff out here. Antonio, I'm sorry, no. The World Cup has been going on, and honestly, I could give a rat's ass about the World Cup. It's not my cup of tea. It's soccer/football, whatever you want to call it, doesn't interest me that much. And when USA tied Wales, it looked like that they didn't have a chance at all to move on. And then they tied England with 0-0. And now they just have to beat Iran, and they'll be able to make it the next level. So, yay, I guess, for that. But I find it does not interest me. I find soccer to be extraordinarily, but I'm going to call it soccer because football for me is American football, and that's what's going to be. Soccer is just, it's boring to me. I get why maybe other countries really get passionate about it. And I get why maybe some Americans get passionate because my dad likes it. My cousin Paul really, really likes it. But I can't get into it. I really have no desire. And to me, it just seems like this World Cup is more along the lines of stupid Americans trying to prove that they were better than foreign people. So that's why we got to cheer on the soccer team for beating all these foreign people, because we got to prove that we're the greatest in the world when we're fucking not. We are one of the shithole countries, most shithole countries in the world right now, because our fucking government is a joke. Our fucking law system is a fucking joke also. And just everything is a fucking joke right now. And this country sucks ass right now. Look, it wasn't always this way, but it sucks ass right now. And, it just pisses me off so much and gives me ulcers and gives me anxiety and all this bullshit. That's why I haven't been feeling good for like 5 years now, 6 years. Anyway, I could give a rat's ass about the World Cup, and I really don't care. America is not going to win the World Cup. I'm sorry, everybody out there. Call me anti-American, whatever. I don't give a fuck, because soccer's stupid. I know, people who like it, it's like it. That's fine. That's my opinion. I think soccer is stupid. I don't like it. But I'm not going to force my likes or dislikes on other people, like other certain people I know who try to force their likes and dislikes on me, and try to force or other people that says that you're wrong and I'm right. No one's wrong and no one's right. It's my opinion. Opinion is all it is. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. And you know what? They're all different and they're all fine. Okay? So fuck your comments if you don't like what I'm saying about the World Cup. The World Cup is stupid. Soccer is stupid. I can give rat's ass, and the United States is not going to win the World Cup this year. I'm sorry, they just aren't. They're just not that good of a team. Anyway, a huge fire broke out at the Qatar World Cup city just moments before a match. So, the whole FIFA thing going on also is another reason why soccer sucks ass also. But in this case, I hope everyone's okay, but that just is kind of weird. Now, Antonio Banderas has been on the road lately, doing pressers for his voice acting in the Puss in Boots movie coming out real soon. They had a sneak preview of it on Saturday, and I think it comes out next week, I think. But, while doing the presser, you got to think of questions to ask him that are interesting. And so one of the characters that Antonio Banderas has played is an iconic character by the name of Zorro. He made 2 movies about The Mark of Zorro and The Mask of Zorro, both of which are actually pretty entertaining movies if you haven't seen them before. But after The Mask of Zorro didn't do as well as The Mark of Zorro, or vice versa, The Mask of Zorro was first. I don't know. Regardless, the second movie didn't do as good as the first one. They sort of got away from doing any more Zorro movies, and of course, as time progressed, Antonio Banderas is getting older. He's an older gentleman. He's in his 60s, I think. So, they were asking about, would you consider coming back to do another Zorro movie? And he said, I absolutely 100% would come back and do a Zorro movie just so I could do the Anthony Hopkins part. So now, if you remember the first Zorro movie with Antonio Banderas also had Anthony Hopkins, who was the original Zorro. And he, at that time in this movie, he needed to pass the reins over to a new Zorro. And so he picked Antonio Banderas, trained him up, and did all this stuff, and he became the next Zorro. So that's what Antonio Banderas kind of wants to do. He wants to kind of take the role of Anthony Hopkins now and be that older Zorro to train the next generation of Zorro. And I think that'd be really cool to see a new Zorro film with the way film is done now. And as time is progressing, you can you're going to have to move the timeline up a little bit. So see how more modern era Zorro stories would be. It'd be kind of cool to see how they do that. And they also asked him, was like, well, if that's the case, then if you want to be the mentor role of it and not be the main role of it, who would you like to see play Zorro? And without a beat, he said, I'd like to see Tom Holland play it. And now they work together in the movie Uncharted, where Antonio Banderas plays the bad guy. And working with Tom Holland, Banderas was saying stuff like, this kid is he's just full of energy, pip and pop, and is, isn't averse to doing tough things. He can do, the flips and all that stuff and the amazing stuff. So he thinks that, granted, Zorro is kind of supposed to be a, Mexican sort of hero, but let's face facts. Anthony Hopkins wasn't a Mexican sort of hero, and George Hamilton and Zorro the Gay Blade really wasn't a a Mexican as well. So, Antonio Banderas, it did work for that. But, if he wanted to make another movie, I think it wouldn't be bad for maybe seeing a Tom Holland come in there. He's a little young maybe for the role, but he'd actually be able to play more his age now in his mid-20s. Or, you could find another, Spanish or Mexican American actor to come in and play that. But that was just who he suggested. But, you start thinking about it a little bit, and Tom Holland probably would be pretty good at it, to be honest. Now, everybody knows I still haven't seen it yet. And this is one that I need to see very, very soon also. There's just so much stuff I need to see. I've been putting off stuff. I need to get caught up on Andor. I need to watch the Santa Clauses, despite the fact Tim Allen keeps pushing his fucking conservative views into what was up to that point a really fun movie series, and now in this TV show he's pushing his conservative agenda. So that's the only thing that's keeping me really away from watching it, but I'm hoping that that's only a small portion of it and we get more of the magic of the original movies. The Wednesday show, I want to see that as well. And Weird Al Yankovic biopic Weird with Daniel Radcliffe. So Weird Al's been doing press for that as well. And in one of his pressers, he mentioned that he went to Warner Brothers years back and asked if he could do a parody song about Harry Potter. And Warner Brothers said, nope, you can't. And Al being Al was like, okay, fine. But it would be it would have been ironic if he would have been able to do that, seeing as how Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe, played Weird Al in this biopic. So, but yeah, but that was, that's one good thing about Weird Al. He doesn't need to do this. If he made a parody song about Harry Potter, he could not get sued for it due to parody laws that are out there. But because Weird Al is a good guy, he asked permission to parody these songs before he does it, so as not to have any bad feelings with the bands that he's parodying, because sometimes he's insulting them a little bit. Like the Nirvana one, Smells Like Nirvana, is basically a song about how no one can understand what Kurt Cobain is singing. And it's freaking hilarious. But at the same time, if he wouldn't have gone to Nirvana and said, hey, I want to do this parody where we kind of make fun of people not being able to understand what you said, if they would have said, nah, that's not cool, that's not fair, we'd all be like, okay, fine, that's okay, I'm good with that, I'll move on to something else. But they liked it so much that they actually allowed him to do another parody song of one of their songs, and it's called Calling in Sick Today, or Calling in Sick, I think, but it was based on one of their other songs as well, and it's really it's a really fun one also. But that's why Weird Al's good. He doesn't need to do this. He can make any parody he wants to, because there are laws that protect him from being sued by the people that he's parodying. But because he's a good guy, he will ask their permission. And if they say no, he's going to be like, okay, I'm disappointed, but whatever, man. Freddie Prinze Jr. apparently was forced to take a pay cut for Scooby-Doo 2. I didn't quite read the storyline, but I don't know if that really makes a lot of sense to me. I guess, would it be the reason why he did it was to give his wife, Sarah Michelle Gellar, more money, because she was, of the 4 actors in that movie, she was the one that probably the most successful. Now, don't get me wrong, they all have different levels of success, but at that time, Sarah Michelle Gellar's Buffy was, on target, was huge, so she was a big deal, whereas Matthew Lillard was in Scream, but he hadn't really done Scream since any other Scream, since his character, spoiler, dies in that movie. So he hasn't been doing that much. He's a fucking outstanding actor, but he does not have the level of power, I guess, that Sarah had. Linda Calderino, again, was another one. She's a character actress, really, for the most part. She's been able to, lead a bunch of shows, including this one that just finished on Netflix with Christina Applegate. And playing Hawkeye's wife in the MCU is another big thing as well. So she's done stuff, But again, she's not really the it factor. And Freddie Prinze Jr. was the it factor in the late 90s, but he's sort of, his star sort of started, diminishing a little bit, hence the fact that he had to take a pay cut, because they might have still been, he might have still been asking for money based on his She's All That and his other I Know What You Did Last Summer and the original Scooby-Doo stuff. He said, I should still be able to make as much money as, say, Sarah does, because I was in a bunch of successful films as well. But in the end, it turned out not to be the case. I really didn't read the story all that much, but the fact was that was the headline I saw, and kind of interesting. And again, why did they just pinpoint Freddie Prinze Jr., not anybody else? Again, Freddie Prinze Jr. has a Netflix Christmas movie out, which is another one I want to check out. So he's doing pressers for that. So, of course, these questions are going to come up. So that's where these stories are actually coming from. Speaking of Christmas and Christmas movies, there was a movie that came out, I guess, 2000, 2001, that honestly was a lot more disappointing than I thought it was going to be. It was a movie starring Nicolas Cage and Don Cheadle and Téa Leoni called The Family Man. And the basic premise behind that is sort of a Christmas Carol, kind of. Not really. But basically, you have Nicolas Cage as the high driving businessman sort of type of person. And he runs into an angel played by Don Cheadle, who gives him an opportunity to see what his life, I guess it's more like It's a Wonderful Life, what his life would be like if he was not a high driving businessman, because he doesn't really have any family or anything like that. And with the holidays coming up, and what if he instead married his high school sweetheart, and to see what their life together would be like as if they were married. And what threw me is that it's when he wakes up in this new world, he is consistently trying to get back to his old world. He's completely, he spends the majority of the movie trying to get back to the old world. And it's just like, because it has to happen near the end of the film, something happens where he starts to understand the situation, and then goes back to his regular life, and then realizes what he has to do. But they just spent a lot of time on him just trying to get out of this family, where the whole point of you trying to see what life would be like living in this timeline would be for you to accept it a bit better. But I guess in the end, that's also kind of what the point of the movie was as well, was that he could not, do it until near the end. It was just, and plus him and Téa Leoni didn't really seem to have a lot of chemistry. So just sort of a blurred kind of movie for me, from what I recall. Again, it's like ones I saw once, and I really no desire to really see it. Maybe watch it again, but no desire really to see it again. Same with Mixed Nuts. Though those are movies that make Christmas movies that maybe I need to revisit sometime to see how they are through the passage of time, 20, 30 years later after seeing them originally. So I don't know, but the whole point about this is the writers of the Family Man movie, which is based around Christmas time, they have said that they are going to be turning the movie into a Christmas stage musical, which isn't, again, an unusual thing, because nowadays all movies are getting sort of the Broadway, not all, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of the movies are getting the Broadway show experience. And that all goes back to when the producers did it, when Mel Brooks was successful with the producers, and that sort of kicked things off with that. And you had the Hairsprays, and then you just ran from there. And you've had all sorts of ones, from Beetlejuice to The Bodyguard to what's the one I'm thinking about? Back to the Future, which is coming out on Broadway next year, and Addams Family, which my daughter's school is going to be doing for their musical in the spring, but it is based on the Broadway musical that is currently running in Broadway. And there's been other, Spam-A-Lot, which was the Monty Python musical version of Holy Grail. So there's been all these sort of things. So it makes sense that, hey, why don't we make a stage musical out of a regular movie? They did it for Mean Girls, everything like that. So there's tons of these movies turning into musicals. So it makes sense to turn The Family Man into a musical. And I guess if you do it right, it has a generally interesting musical type story that would seem to fit for a Broadway musical and even a touring group as well. So we'll see how that goes in the end. The newest conspiracy theory that's out there now is kind of a off the wall one. It's like, where the hell did this come from? But was Avril Lavigne replaced? Basically, the conspiracy about that was like in around the 2003, 2004 era. They believe that the conspiracy theory believes that the actual Avril Lavigne committed suicide, but because she was very successful at the time, they needed to replace her quickly. So they found like a stage double, stunt double, whatever you want to call it. And she became the new Avril Lavigne and is the Avril Lavigne that you know and love now. And they've combed through stuff like the original Avril Lavigne had a tattoo of the name of the woman who they believe replaced her on her arm, and her voice has changed, her walking has changed, her mannerisms have changed, all this stuff. So they believe that she's been replaced and stuff like that. So kind of a off-kilter, weird, bizarre conspiracy theory, and it's just a weird one. So this week alone, there were 2 officially designated oldest in the, one is oldest in the world and one is oldest in the United States. But the Guinness Book of World Records has come out and officially declared that Flossie, a cat from London, is officially the oldest cat in the world at the age of 27, which is insane for a cat. So Flossie is officially the oldest cat in the world. And then let me see if I can find this other, because it came up a little later, or earlier in the week, I should say. I think it's on this page. What the hell did I write there? Oh, that I know what that is. Never mind. Trying to find it. Oh, yeah, there we go. U.S. officially, the U.S.'s oldest person is 115-year-old grandmother named Bessie. She's the oldest person in the United States right now. So both that and Bessie and Flossie are now the oldest. Flossie's the oldest cat in the world at the age of 27. Bessie is the oldest person in the United States at the age of 115, which means, I guess if you do worldwide, there must be somebody who's older than Bessie at 115 years old. So someone might be close to 120 years old. I don't know, because I don't actually know who the oldest person in the world is now. But when they mentioned Bessie, they said oldest person in the United States. So obviously there is someone else who's older than her and the oldest person in the world. So there's that. I guess we'll start with, we now have all stuff on this page now as well. I have the review, but I can do that a little bit. We'll do some death because there's a couple big deaths this week. First up, the big death this week was Irene Cara. She died Friday, I believe. She's a singer who was huge in the 80s. She sang Fame, I'm Gonna Live Forever, and Flashdance, What a Feeling. She died at the age of 63. Both of those are brilliant songs and outstanding songs, and I'm going to have to put them on my playlist because what I do is when a singer dies in that year, because I do a playlist for every year, I have to put them on as well. The other big death, there's none here. The other big death this week was Jason David Frank, who was the legendary Power Ranger, Green Power Ranger, I guess, who came back as the White Power Ranger in a later series. But he was the original Power Ranger, died at the age of 49. Greg Bear, a sci-fi author and San Diego Comic-Con co-founder, died at the age of 71 this week as well. And actress Nikki Ascox, who was on Supernatural and Jeepers Creeper 2, died at the age of 47 this week. I don't think I have any other ones. So Anniversaries got a lot of those. It's probably going to take me up to, I guess I can maybe make this a little longer than an hour. So this is going to take probably another 10 minutes. So about 45 minutes in, we'll be moving on with our stuff. But here's the anniversary stuff. This is all these anniversaries are stuff that came out this week starting on, let me see. Today's the 27th. So the 20th, from the 20th to the 26th of November. Technically more like the 25th. I don't think there's anything for the 26th. But anyway, regardless, doesn't matter. So Bad Santa, that one's the 26th. So all through, so it's the 20th to 26th. All these anniversaries are stuff that came out this week, November 20th through the 26th. Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton came out 19 years ago. Creed with Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone came out 7 years ago this week. Two major films that are celebrating major milestones. Aladdin, the Disney musical Aladdin, our animated version of it, is 30 years old this week. And the wonderful John Hughes, and one of the only Thanksgiving movies out there in the world, the wonderful John Hughes, Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, starring Steve Martin and John Candy, as well as a cameo by Kevin Bacon, is a 35 years old this week. Back to the Future 2 came out this week in 1989, which places it at 89, 99, 2009, 2019. So 33 years old. Wow. Mrs. Doubtfire came out 29 years ago this week. One of Saul's Robin Williams and Dead Post Society today or Saturday, and now we're talking about that now. Tangled, one of the best of the modern era Disney films, came out 12 years ago. This is the one that came out before Frozen and was the huge one before Frozen. People still have a comparison battle between Frozen and that. A lot of people like Tangled a lot more than they do Frozen. Scrooge, one of my favorite Christmas movies with Bill Murray, came out in 1988 this week. I actually saw that movie in the movie theater, not this week, but later around Christmas time I did. Actually, it was after Christmas, I think. So 1988 makes it 34 years ago. Whoops. Crap. There was another one from 1989. Where was that? Oh, Garfield's Thanksgiving, which was one of the very few Thanksgiving cartoons that are out there. Charlie Brown has one as well. The Garfield Thanksgiving, which is a lovely, wonderful one. It's actually Christmas is the one that I'm thinking of more along the lines of, but the Thanksgiving one's a lot of fun also. That is also 33 years old, came out in 1989 as well, the Garfield Thanksgiving animated cartoon. We watched that was the other one, Addams Family Values and Coming to America. We watched those Friday night. My daughter and I and my wife. But the original Addams Family came out 31 years ago this week. So a couple of non-movie things. 9 years ago this week, the Day of the Doctor special for Doctor Who came out, where David Tennant's Doctor Who 10th Doctor meets Matt Smith's 11th Doctor, and the two of them had extraordinarily wonderful chemistry, and also reintroduced John Hurt as the War Doctor, and a great holiday special that was for their anniversary since Doctor Who came out, November 22nd, 1963, the same day that John F. Kennedy was killed. Doctor Who started as well, which is a weird kind of thing to think about, really. And in 1986, which I guess 86, 96, 2006, 2016, make that 36 years ago. 36 years ago, Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight boxing champion in the world ever at the age of 20 this week. Casino, the Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Sharon Stone mob movie about the setting up of the mafia in Las Vegas, directed by Martin Scorsese. Of course it is, because he always does mafia movies. Came out 27 years ago this week. Also 27 years ago this week, a complete opposite of what Casino was. Casino is a highly violent crime drama with lots of killing and violence, stuff like that. The original Toy Story came out the same day, 27 years ago, as Casino. That was 1995, I believe. So I remember going to see that in the movie theaters as well. The wonderful Star Trek 8, Star Trek 8, First Contact, debuted 26 years ago this week. One of the best Star Trek movies ever made. Loved it. Outstanding. A little bit closer to home, Pixar's Coco came out in 2017. That was, make it 5 years ago. So it's 5-year anniversary of Coco. So that's good. That's a one about the Day of the Dead and stuff like that. It's outstanding. Speaking of Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, also came out in 1986. That was the same year that Mike Tyson was the heavyweight champion. So that came out. That's another one of the best Star Trek movies of all time. Going to some crappy sequels. Alien Resurrection, which is Alien 4, came out 25 years ago this week. It's actually a lot better than people give it credit for. It has a really interesting premise. Joss Whedon was one of the co-writers, as he was one of the co-writers of Toy Story also. Sigourney Weaver came back as Ripley, but a different type of Ripley. And you had Ron Perlman in it as well. And you had a visual director and Jean-Louis something or other, or Jean-Jacques Jeannot or something like that. It was visually stunning. Winona Ryder also makes an appearance in there as well. And it's a great premise because at the end of the third one, the real Ripley killed herself with the queen alien inside her so that the company that she works for would not get their hands on this weapon. But because they built up enough scientific stuff like that, they were able to take her DNA and they created different clones of her to try to get a cloned alien queen. And they succeeded with creating a clone of Ripley and getting the queen out of the clone Ripley and then keeping her alive. And so it's a different take on Alien. I think it's a lot better movie than people give it credit for. I think it's underrated. And so I shouldn't have said it's a crappy sequel. I mean, it has its moments that are pretty bad, but it's actually a really entertaining movie, to be honest. I think it's overhated. And that might be something I might send Scott Eisenberg or whatever, who does a podcast about overhated movies. I think that's one that I think he should take a look at as well. Teen Wolf 2, though, is a crappy sequel. A sequel to the Michael J. Fox movie doesn't include Michael J. Fox. Instead, it's Jason Bateman in one of his last acting roles in movies that he did before he moved on to do more television and directing. But it's Teen Wolf 2, same sort of premise as the original Teen Wolf, except it's wrestling instead of basketball. And James Hampton, who played Michael J. Fox's dad in the original Teen Wolf, returns as Scott Howard's dad again. This time, though, I think Jason Bateman's character is like his nephew. So his cousin is Michael J. Fox's Scott. Breaking Dawn Part 2, Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2. Came out 10 years ago this week. Most notably about that was it ended the Twilight saga with a, spoiler alert, a massive 15-minute long fake out, because it looks like there's a big battle between the vampires and the werewolves and the Twilight vampires, where lots of people get killed, stuff like that. But it all turned out to be something in the mind of the vampire lords to say, if you fight us, this is what's going to happen because I can see the future, sort of thing. So that's kind of a weird little things as well. Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, which started sort of the decline of the Fantastic Beasts series. The sequel to the original Fantastic Beasts came out in 2018. So that's 4 years old this week. The Blind Side, Sandra Bullock won an Oscar for that, I believe, and actually tells the story of Michael Orr, who was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, and that sequence appears in the movie as well. This is a story about his life. That's 13 years old this week as well. Now we're getting to some older stuff. Westworld, the original movie starring Yul Brynner, adapted from the Michael Crichton novel, came out this week, 1973. So I was June, July, August, September, October. I was 5 months old when this movie came out. So it's 49 years old this week because I'm 49 years old. That's 1973. One of the greatest Universal monster movies of all time, even better, they say, than Dracula, which pissed off Bela Lugosi, but Boris Karloff as Frankenstein. The original Frankenstein came out this week in 1931. So let's think about that. So 30, 31, so 21 would have been their big anniversary. So let's look at that. 31 to 41 to 51 to 61 to 71 to 81 to 91 to 2001 to 2021. 81 years old this week. Another okay sequel, but not as good as the original film. Predator 2 came out in 1990. Danny Glover, Bill Paxton, the main stars of that, and it got annihilated by a little movie called Home Alone. But it's still an okay film in the Predator saga, and it shifts the Predator from the forest to the city, which is kind of cool. But it also set the stage for Bill Paxton being one of the only actors to be killed by an alien from the Alien saga, a Predator, and a Terminator. So pretty interesting about that. A visually stunning and Academy Award-winning film, Life of Pi, came out 10 years ago this week. It is an outstanding film, visually stunning, and just absolutely mind-blowing. If you have not seen it yet, it is a absolute stunner of a film. The Mist, based on the Stephen King novel with Thomas Jane as a star, and what's his face? The guy who directed Shawshank, Frank Darabont. This is his last film before he went to Walking Dead to set that up. So he brought over a bunch of the actors from this movie to be in The Walking Dead. Andre Braugher also makes an appearance in this movie as well. But The Mist is one of Stephen King's greatest short stories, and they finally made a movie that did it well by adaptation. Has one of the most heart-wrenching final scenes in a movie. You'll see it on any list about surprise twist ending sort of stuff things. It came out in 2007, so we're looking at 15 years ago. So it's 15 years old. So it's kind of good. I actually have never seen it, and I just bought the Blu-ray this week, or a couple weeks ago. And finally, the last anniversary is, again, nothing that's a movie or TV show or anything like that, but my favorite band, REM, released one of my favorite songs of all time, I'll Take the Rain, this week in 2001, making that 21 years ago this week. So that is everything anniversary-wise. So a little bit later than 45 minutes, about 48 minutes. So now we're going into here. So I guess should I wait for the top of the hour? Or should I do this now? I'll do this now, and that way I can maybe take us to the top of the hour, and then I can continue with all this stuff. So let me get my throat cleared here. And let me reiterate right now, spoilers incoming. About 2 hours ago, we finished, 2 hours ago, we finished watching one of the best Christmas specials, holiday special, whatever you call it, I have ever seen. And when I do my list of Christmas specials, stuff like that, in my conversations with myself in December, this is definitely going to be on that list. Same with its MCU list I'm going to be doing also. This will be high up on the list as well. The Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special is truly a Christmas classic after just being released on Friday. It is probably one of the best Marvel stories you will ever see, written and directed by James Gunn, who only has one more job left in him in Marvel before he goes on and moves DC into a new direction. DC movies into a new direction. He's got the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming up in May, and that's going to be his last Marvel work for the foreseeable future. Does this special set up Guardians of the Galaxy 3? There might be some threads that you'll be able to connect to the third one, and I think that there will be, because some big stuff did happen in this, believe it or not, that might play out later on in the third movie. And I'm going to tell you what they are, because again, this is a huge spoilery alert, because I just want to talk about this movie, this special so much, because it is so good. It is 45 minutes of pure Christmas bliss. It is the only MCU project, maybe except for the I Am Groot cartoons, but they sort of have some sort of antagonist that has no villain in it. This special has no villain whatsoever in it. It is a character building holiday special extravaganza. Outstanding music, outstanding story, funny, action-packed, heartfelt. It's not really action-packed, but there's some action in it. Heartfelt and just great. The VIPs, or the MVPs, I should say, of the special are Drax and Mantis. They are the main focus of the special. It's their plan to help Star-Lord through a tough time that sets everything into motion. And you see them for the first half of the show, which is about 45 minutes long. So let's get started right away. We begin with an animated bit where Kraglin is telling the story of the first Christmas with Yondu and stuff like that, but it's done in animated style. And Yondu hated Christmas, and that in turn, he believes, put a little upset, making Star-Lord a little upset because he liked Christmas, and then Yondu just said, we're not going to celebrate Christmas ever, and like that. So Kraglin is telling a group of people this. Apparently, the Guardians of the Galaxy have a new status quo now. They have bought the City of Nowhere, which is where the Collector was set, where he was from the Collector. So the Collector survived his attack, the Thanos attack, and he sold them Nowhere. So they are cleaning up this godforsaken land that was a big part of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So now they're taking it over and cleaning it up and are running the place, in a good way. People are enjoying it. It's more lit up. It seems more like an actual city and not some trashy Vegas sort of style thing. But Peter is still not too happy because he misses what's her face? Nebula's sister. Oh my God. Because she's not mentioned in the movie. I can't the show. I can't remember who it was. Give me a second. Guardians of the Galaxy. Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana. Because remember, in Infinity War, Gamora was killed by Thanos to get the Soul Stone, and she had proclaimed her love for Peter, and so he was upset. And then when Gamora reappeared in Endgame, she was a Gamora from the past who had never met Peter till that point and did not like him and did not love him, so moved on from that. I'm assuming that the third Guardians of the Galaxy does have Gamora in it. We know that for sure. We're going to probably put a capper on that story probably to see how that turns out. But Peter is upset about not about losing Gamora, so he's not his usual jovial self. And a couple of the aliens who are who live in Nowhere have found American instruments, and they know that they've heard stories about Christmas from Kraglin and from Peter himself and other stuff as well, that they have learned how to play these Earth instruments and create a Christmas song. and it's the first of many musical bits in the special, which is outstanding. The music is outstanding in this special because James Gunn is really good about doing that. So they create this whole Christmas song, which takes about 5 or 6 minutes of the runtime to play, but it is an absolutely funny Christmas song if you listen to the lyrics, and it's also a good way to run the opening credits of the show during this song. So it works out perfectly, and it's a Christmas special because much like in the Star Wars Christmas special, there were musical numbers, so you're going to have musical numbers. This is the first of two musical numbers. The other one I'll talk about a little later in my review, and it is a great, funny Christmas song, and I might have to find it on YouTube. I'm sure they have it somewhere, and put it on my Christmas playlist because it is so funny. I'm going to put both of the Christmas songs that we get on this. So then while all this is going on, Mantis and Drax, who seem to be joined at the hip, but they're just good friends, decide that they need to do something to cheer Peter up because of Christmas and because of Gamora. And also Mantis feels personally obligated to it because this is the first big reveal. Well, I guess owning Nowhere was the first big one, but this is the second biggest one. We discover, and this is canon, this is going to be played on probably in the third movie as well, that Mantis is actually Peter's half-sister. Her father is Ego. Ego, I guess, impregnated Mantis's mom, trying to get the Celestial, and it didn't quite work, but he liked Mantis, and so kept Mantis on, particularly her power she has, and kept Mantis on to be his surrogate. But I guess in the end you could also say it could be because it's his daughter. So she is officially Peter's half sister now, or they just say sister now because when you have a half, like I have a half brother. No, I don't have a half brother. I have a step brother. Stepbrothers and half brothers and stuff like that, they're just brothers, or half sisters and stepsisters, they're just sisters. So she, as Quill's sister, she feels she needs to help cheer him up. So the two of them, Drax and Mantis, decide the best way to cheer up Peter is to get his hero, Kevin Bacon, to go to Earth, get Kevin Bacon, bring him to Nowhere, and surprise Peter with it. So now we follow Drax and Mantis as they go to Earth to get Kevin Bacon. Now, before we get to that, one other big bit of news. Cosmo, the dog that's in the spacesuit that appeared in the Collector's Collection, I think might have appeared in the other Guardians of the Galaxy movie in a cameo role, has a bigger role in this special, which means I think she is officially now a member of the Guardians, because at the end of the movie, when the Guardians gather together, just the Guardians themselves, Cosmo pops up in there as being, looks like part of the group. But now Cosmo has psychic abilities and psychically talks like a female. So I don't know if that's I think that's James Gunn's wife actually is the voice of Cosmo, to be honest. So I'll probably have to look that up. Actually, I can see if I can look that up real quick to verify if that is indeed the case, because I know that his wife is involved in this. Hold on, just clear this out and just write it again, because I'd seen it before. No, it's the original Guardians of the Galaxy, not the holiday special, dumbass. So let's just type in. All right, so just Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special cast. So let's double verify that. Where's Maria Bakalova? Oh, maybe that's who it is. So Maria Bakalova, the one who was Borat's daughter, that's who it is. Okay. Is the voice of it's Cosmo the Space Dog. There it is right there. Okay, so that's good. So I thought it was going to be Gunn's wife. She's in the Guardians of the Galaxy third movie, but not in the Christmas special. Okay, got it. All right, so we got that. So Cosmo has psychic abilities and talks psychically, and she is connected to Rocket at this point. Groot also appears. He is now no longer a sullen teenager going through puberty right now. He seems to be like in his late teens right now, because they did call him still like a kid. So he's probably 18, 19 years old, but he's bigger. He looks stronger, wider shoulders. He looks like he's going to be not as thin as the original Groot is. He looks like he's going to be a bit more buff than the original Groot. So that's kind of an interesting sort of perspective you're going to see as well. So getting back to the show. So now for the next 15 minutes or so of the show, we just follow Drax and Mantis, and we don't go back. We don't see what's going on nowhere. We just follow Drax and Mantis as they go to try to find Kevin Bacon. So they go to Hollywood and they walk Hollywood Boulevard trying to find Kevin Bacon, but they end up, getting pictures taken, because if you've ever walked on Hollywood Boulevard, there are people dressed up in costumes all the time, and people go up and take pictures of them and then give them tips and stuff like that. So people do that to Mantis and Drax and start giving them tons of money. So now they have all this cash. And so after they move their way up Hollywood Boulevard and don't see anything, they go into what I think is a gay bar. Which is not saying that's anything bad, but it's a great sequence where they go into a bar and they just start drinking alcohol, and then it's like a bunch of men in there dancing. So I'm assuming it's a gay bar. I didn't see like really very many other women in there, and some of the gay men come up to Drax and try to get him to dance, but he doesn't like dancing. So I don't even know what that is. He doesn't like dancing, but instead they buy him drinks. So they get totally drunk, and they still don't know where Kevin Bacon's location is yet. So a woman hears them talking about that, and she gives them a map of the celebrities' houses that you can get in Hollywood. It's for $40. They don't have any money, so Mantis uses her powers to have her give it to them for free. They find Kevin Bacon's house, and they break in. And it is the real Kevin Bacon playing himself in the MCU, and they break into his house to try to kidnap him. He's obviously freaked out, so he calls the police. And so Drax and Mantis chase him, and the police come, and so there's a big battle where Drax and Mantis take out all the police officers, and then eventually Mantis uses her powers on Kevin Bacon to get him to come with them back to Nowhere. So they go back to Nowhere, and before that, they make a stop at a shop and clean out all the Christmas decorations. So then you go back to Nowhere, and then you cut back to Peter, kind of still in a depressive mood, whatever, hanging out when someone calls to him. I forget who it is. Is it Nebula maybe? Because Karen Gillan's Nebula's in it. Someone calls to him to come out. And as he walks out into Nowhere, the wonderful, amazing Smashing Pumpkins Christmas song, Christmas Time, starts. And I think I can, without getting copyrighted on Deltas, I'm going to play just a bit of the song for you, because it is outstanding. And this sequence is probably my favorite in the whole movie, because as Christmas Time is playing, that's not going to work. So as the song Christmas Time is playing by the Smashing Pumpkins, Nowhere is completely decorated by everybody. So the entirety of Nowhere is decorated with lights and all types of lights and decorations, and then they create fake snow, and Quill is just walking around amazed seeing all this stuff, and everybody comes out and is happy and cheerful and everything like that, and this song's playing, and it is just one of the greatest Christmas sequences I've ever seen. Gave me the chills, got me a little bit emotional about stuff, and it's an outstanding sequence. And eventually Groot rolls out a giant package that's shaking, and then he starts hearing that somebody's inside it, opens it up, and discovers Kevin Bacon in there. Now, Kevin Bacon, remember, is under Mantis' spell, so he's happy to be there and all this stuff. But Peter is kind of incensed about that because they kidnapped somebody. They kidnapped somebody, and that's not right. So, and also then they realize that Mantis did used her power, so he's kind of pissed at them. So he says, "Okay, take him out of the trance, and let's take him back to Earth." The new ship is now called the Bowie, which is all outstanding. It's not the Milano anymore; it's the Bowie. And so Kraglin takes Kevin Bacon back after Peter tries to explain what's going on. And Kraglin goes into a little bit more detail about what just happened, and it changes Kevin's mind about hanging out with them because Kraglin tells a really good story to explain the feelings and stuff like that about why they did what they did to do that. So Kevin changes his mind and ends up singing a song with the same band from the beginning, one that Kevin Bacon himself wrote because he is part of the Bacon Brothers band with his brother, but he's by himself along with this band that they introduced in the show. And he's singing again, so it's not like a 5 to 7 minute Christmas interlude while they're singing this song. Peter and Groot and Rocket and Mantis and Drax and Nebula are all handing out presents to each other and opening them and hugging everybody, hugging each other, hugging the people of Nowhere. The people of Nowhere are hugging him, and they're enjoying the music. It's a wonderful Christmas song, which again is one I'm probably gonna need to get. I think after I do the show, I'm gonna get the 2 Christmas songs from Guardians of the Galaxy. I might throw Christmas Time on there as well because that was just outstanding. And I got to do Flashdance and Fame. So it's like 5 new songs. That's gonna push my my 2022 playlist to about 98 songs. No, not 88, like 88, like 93 songs. That's kind of cool. So we'll see how that all works out. So then so everything is wonderful, glorious, and wonderful. And then, Kevin Bacon ends up leaving with Kraglin to go back home. And there's one last scene at the end where Mantis is talking to Peter, and Peter's like trying to figure, why'd you do this for me? And Mantis eventually reveals to him that they are related. They are brother and sister. And it's the best line in the whole movie. It makes me tear up. Is Peter looks at Mantis when she says that and is like, that's the greatest Christmas present I could ever have. And they embrace as siblings. And that's where the show ends. And then it's red and green credits. And then there's an end credit sequence where Groot is dressed up as a Christmas tree and Rocket and Cosmo are decorating him. And then Groot like sneezes or something like that, and all the decorations fall off. And then Rocket's like, great, now we need another Christmas special. So that's fun. So I cannot stress how wonderful this special is, how magical, how very Christmassy it is. And Marvel continues to kill it despite all the negativity that people are throwing at it. This is an outstanding piece of MCU cinema. Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola can go to fucking hell and suck my dick with their comments about how they hate Marvel stuff. Because this is absolutely brilliant. Yes, James Gunn wrote and directed it, but the actors have to be able to emote it and give it their all, and they do, and they have to sell it, and that's what they do, and it is outstanding. And I cannot stress enough how everyone needs to see the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Now, obviously, if you haven't seen the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, you're going to be a little bit behind. So I recommend if you at least see them anyway, and they're kind of in their own little orbit anyway. I mean, they do appear in Infinity War and Endgame, but that's really the only times that they appear in anything other than their stuff. And that's just more minor stuff, and nothing really happens that affects them too much except for Gamora's death and her rebirth as someone from the past. That's really about it. So So definitely worth it. And it has definitely jumped to the top of my list. So over like the past 6 or 7 years, there's been two outstanding Christmas things that have pushed my old favorites that have always been there back a little bit. Netflix's Klaus, which is another movie that you all have to see, and this Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So highly, hugely recommended, and I hope everybody goes and checks it out on their own. Now, I mentioned Quentin Tarantino. He said that Marvel actors are not real movie stars. Quentin Tarantino can suck my ass. He's trying to stay relevant because that's what the cool cinema people are believing. And maybe you might have a point. Yes, the CGI and all that stuff becomes a little overwhelming, but you still need the emotional aspect of it that the actors give. I mean, with all the CGI in the world, you cannot have the heartbreaking stuff that you've seen Wanda be going through in her story arc, or Tony Stark sacrificing himself. I have issues with that alone, or even I shouldn't maybe say that, but even that is still effect, and or Nat killing herself, or in the Hawkeye TV show, which everybody seems to hate. Also, the fact that he's suffering from a PTSD sort of thing, and because he was there, he feels guilty. He killed people during the snap, and then he felt bad enough that he wanted to kill himself, but he couldn't even do that either. And his best friend ended up sacrificing herself instead. And it's in Moon Knight with his multiple personalities. That's acting, it's not, I find these bad takes exactly what they are. They're bad takes. And Scorsese and even James Cameron and Francis Ford Coppola, all these guys who are hotshot directors, stuff like that, who like to dump on Marvel, but you're kind of being hypocritical, to be honest. Because let's look at that. Francis Ford Coppola hasn't done shit since 2001. He hasn't really been relevant since 1992 when he did Bram Stoker's Dracula, and then soon after that, I think he did Godfather Part 3 before that. And Winona was supposed to be in that, but she didn't. But then she did this one for him. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe she did this one that was supposed to do the third one, but then didn't. That kind of pissed. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But he hasn't been relevant since 2001. Now he's making his magnum opus now with Megalopolis, and that might bring him back into some sort of prominence and might get Oscars and stuff like that. So that's okay. But you haven't done shit in 20 plus years. Martin Scorsese, talking about how, Marvel movies are killing cinema. You do the goddamn same movie for the most part. Now, you're a little bit better, Martin, because you actually do, expand a little bit, but people know you more for all your gangster type of movies. You got Gangs of New York, your Departed, your Casino, and Cape Fear, and Goodfellas, and these, violent, vicious F word this, F word that, craziness, and just horrific people and terrible. You do the same movie over and over again. Now you have done a few little breaks here and there with Hugo and Kundun and a few others that are different, but for the most part, your movies are all goddamn same. So again, you have no right to say anything because you're doing the same goddamn thing. James Cameron, you talk about how, Marvel comic book stories are lame and stupid. You stole Dances with Wolves story for your goddamn Avatar movie, and then you wait 11 years to make the sequel, and then you get all prima donna on everybody if they say anything bad about it, and you re-release your Avatar movie multiple times so that it can overtake Endgame, who was the highest grossing movie of all time, and that pissed you off so much that you had to re-release it twice to get past it because you're a little bitch. That's why I admire most of these people, but just their stupid mouths are just making me hate them more and more. And then now QT, I never really liked QT all that much anyway. You do the same goddamn stuff. Like you're very easy about using the N-word. You do violent stuff. You're all gangster. It's all the same bullshit here too. You say they're not real actors. Well, you have big actors, but they do pretty much the same goddamn characters in every one of your fucking movies. So you just need to step back. All of you guys need to step the fuck back and just let us enjoy Marvel Comics. You're just jealous that they are hugely popular, still hugely popular. Your movie's not being seen as much because everybody would rather see more entertaining films than your pieces of dreck because yours are just way too serious. Why so serious, you fucking dumbasses? All right. Popeye the Sailor Man is embracing the new age animation style with a reboot as an anime. So there's going to be a Popeye anime coming soon, which, believe it or not, actually kind of works, you know? Robin Williams did an outstanding version of the musical, but now you do the anime of Popeye. It kind of works. If you've ever seen an anime film, like a Chainsaw Man or One Punch Man or whatever, it would make perfect sense to have a Popeye anime. And we are now finally going to get one. So that's good on that. So, you know, you're talking about how comic book shows and movies aren't real actors. Well, Doom Patrol's on season 4 there, and it is one of the most strange and awkward and crazy and insane TV shows, and it's survived. It's gone to a 4th season. So some people like that shit, you know. Some people are doing really good there. So you just need to shut the fuck up. Artist One's in the news this week because of a couple of reasons. One, Artemis One is now orbiting the moon, and it takes some of the best pictures of it as it orbits the moon. So we've seen some of the best pictures of the moon recently from the Artemis mission. Also, apparently, NASA lost contact with Artemis before it started orbiting the moon for about 47 minutes back on Thursday or Wednesday, I guess, something like that. So something went wrong there, but it's moving along okay right now. Scientists create a synthetic muscle which is stronger than Kelvar. So I guess if you want to rebuild muscles or whatever and make them stronger than they have been before, they've created a synthetic muscle, which should be interesting to see how that works and how you can apply that to stuff. The world's heaviest birds may be self-medicating on plants used in traditional medicines. So I don't know what the heaviest bird in the world is, but I saw a picture. But apparently they're self-medicating, eating. If they feel bad about stuff, they eat the plants of stuff that we use in our modern medicine as well. They know that these have medicinal purposes, and when they know they feel bad, they eat these things and they feel better. So that's kind of interesting. I cannot stress how much I am dying to see Kevin Costner's epic Horizon. I'm just more and more I hear about it, the more and more I love about it. Well, it's back in the news again this week because Kevin Costner has cast his 13-year-old son in an undisclosed role in Horizon. And Kevin said the main reason why he did that is so he can spend some time with him because he's going to be working on this movie for a really long time because there's so much there that I think he is changing it from 1 movie to 3 movies now. So he's going to make his own little trilogy, but it is, as I keep saying, Kevin Costner and Westerns, you cannot go wrong. Open Range, Dances with Wolves, you can't go wrong. Yellowstone's doing really good for him right now too. You cannot go wrong with Kevin Costner and Westerns. And here we are again. You know, he's an Oscar-winning director doing an epic, and you know, whatever you might believe about him, whatever, I think I cannot wait to see what this movie looks like, particularly from a director standpoint. I think it's going to be amazing. Texas Chainsaw Massacre now has a board game. Yes, a board game. Really? Yes, it does. This is kind of neat science news. 2 supermassive black holes are expected to collide with each other within 3 years. Scientists know this, so they're keeping a 24/7 eye on it so that when it actually does happen, they will see it, and it will be scientifically interesting to see what actually occurs when 2 black holes collide with each other. I'm dying to find out myself what is going to happen. So I think that's really, really neat. Now I mentioned Doctor Who earlier in the show, and I mentioned him a couple weeks ago as well because they released who the new companion is and stuff like that. And it's going to be enjoying its 60th anniversary next year. And the new season of Doctor Who with Tennant as the 14th Doctor, coming back as from the 10th Doctor to the 14th Doctor, because he is different than the 10th Doctor, will not be out until November of 2023, because that'll be the official 60th anniversary of it. But it will be on, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, Disney Plus has bought the rights to air it in America. It won't be on BBC America anymore. Disney Plus will now air the new Doctor Who seasons on the Disney Plus app. Now, no word yet if they're going to be getting the old shows on there as well. That would be amazing if they could. But right now they have the rights only to the new stuff coming out. And they've also had the rights to create any other spinoffs that they feel like they want to do in a sort of Star Wars, Marvel sort of way as well. So you're going to have the main stuff, but then you can have spinoffs as well. Now, the first couple ones have been thrown out there a little bit. People believe that people have been trying to sell them on a, I guess that's something else. I'm looking at something else. Sell them on a spinoff series featuring the main bad guys, the Daleks and the Cybermen. So does that mean we're going to get a Dalek show and a Cyberman show, so we find out more along the lines of what makes the villains tick? Very well could be. So that could be a way to do spinoffs on Disney Plus, because Disney now has the rights. They've got the money for it now. So they got the rights to air the Doctor Who that's going to be done by BBC, but they can spin off shows and help pay for those and air them on Disney Plus and over in BBC in England as well, UK. The other Doctor Who story, I was looking at the wrong one. The Doctor Who character breaks the world record for the longest gap between appearances in 57 years and 120 days. The first Doctor's companion way back in 1963 was in 17 episodes, and then he left the show, and then he reappeared in the finale to the 13th Doctor's storyline in 2022, making him be the Guinness Book of World Records longest gap between appearances of 57 years and 120 days. Scientists on Earth knew a new species of tardigrades, those little creatures that can pretty much live anywhere. They've discovered a new batch of them. Jim Carrey said in an interview that he wanted to make a Dumb and Dumber found footage horror film, which I think would have been absolutely hilarious if they could have done that. The Minnesota Vikings accidentally saluted a porn star in a montage meant for military members. So I don't know how that happened, but I find that freaking hilarious. Thanksgiving has just passed, so people find, all kinds of things they can do with leftovers, stuff like that. We had leftovers tonight from our Thanksgiving dinner, but someone has decided that you can put an entire Thanksgiving dinner inside a sausage now. So I guess you put all the ingredients into like a sausage maker and then wrap the sausage around it, so you have Thanksgiving dinner sausages, which my brother-in-law would probably absolutely devour. There's a Tatooine candle now that smells like Tatooine from Star Wars. I don't know what Tatooine would smell like since it's just a desert, but okay. Will Ferrell has been cast as the Mattel CEO in the crazy outlandish Barbie movie that's getting a lot of buzz and will not be out until next July. But he is in that movie as well and will be playing the Mattel CEO. So I can only imagine what that movie is going to be like. I think it's going to be an insane movie that could be a huge hit next year. Charlie Cox is back on Netflix, but not as Daredevil. He is in a new show called Treason. So he's, trying to branch out from being just known as Daredevil, even though he did appear in She-Hulk and and Spider-Man and stuff like that. So, and he's going to get his own Disney Plus Daredevil show, but he returns to Netflix where he first appeared on the Daredevil stuff to do this show called Treason. Fortnite's new chapter and new chapter 4 season 1 is due to hit on Sunday, December 4th. The day before, Saturday, December 3rd, which is upcoming Saturday, I should say. There will be a live event which will end this chapter. The live event was announced to be 40 minutes long this week, so it's going to be a 40-minute long live event, which is insane. But hey, it's pretty cool. Gary Oldman joins the list of actors who have decided they're going to retire from acting. Steve Martin was on that list. He announced that this year, that after he finishes his run on his Hulu show, Only Murders in the Building, he is going to retire from acting. And now Gary Oldman has signed his name to that list, saying that he is going to retire as an actor after the run of the new TV show he's got streaming right now. It's like Young Horses or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what it's about, but yeah, it's what he's involved with right now. In local news, Baltimore County Public Schools, where my kids go, have passed a resolution that Baltimore County will get 5 snow days, which means that if it snows too much and the kids can't get to school or whatever, they will close school and use a snow day so that they don't miss, so that they get 5 built into their school year, so that if it snows heavy and they use all 5 of their snow days during the winter, they will not be going to school later in June to finish up their run. And originally the way it was working is that if you got more than your allotted snow days, it would add days to the end of the school year, or it would take away vacation time or stuff like that. But now, because of what COVID did for a couple of years and made things be online only, they started tinkering with the idea of we can do that now as well. So Baltimore County Public Schools passed this thing saying that they will have 5 snow days. So schools will be closed. Kids don't need to worry about anything. It'll just be closed, whatever. But if they have a 6th and above amount of snow days, because actually I think we're going to be in for a big snowy winter this year. I just got a feeling like a lot of people do. After the 5 snow days, it will go virtual. So snow day 6 will not be a day off of school for kids. They will still be home, but they will have to log into their Zoom channel or whatever they use, whatever the Baltimore County Public Schools use, and have school during the snow day. So you get 5 snow days. So that's what you're going to want. You're going to want that, hopefully, that you only have 5 snow days for the whole winter, because they don't want to have to, go to school, during a snow day, but they will have to if it does more than 5 snow days. Churches are being told to avoid carol concerts on the 4th Sunday of Advent due to the World Cup finals. Now, again, I was talking about my dislike of the World Cup, and that's just more proof that it's kind of insane. And I can't believe I'm doing a regular episode, because I thought with the amount of stuff I have here, I wouldn't be able to do it, but here we are. Or a child come, the supposed lost medal of Atlantis may have been found on a shipwreck off of Sicily. That came from a kind of a hinky-ish sort of website, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. So I wanted to add some extra stuff to this show, because I thought it was going to be a lot shorter than it has become. But here we are. 1 million worth of Celtic gold coins have been stolen from a German museum during a mysterious power outage. So be on the lookout for Celtic gold. That'll be a man was arrested for training his dog to throw bricks at people ringing his doorbell. That's kind of insane, but it's kind of interesting that he was able to do that. A 50-foot replica of the leg lamp from A Christmas Story has been revealed in a place called Chechosha, Oklahoma. 50-foot replica. It's huge. How about some hot honey? You know, honey is always good. It's sweet. It's yummy. But because for some reason morons like hot, really, really hot stuff, they created hot honey. Honey that has a bit of a kick to it. Black Panther 2 has passed $500 million in box office, so that's really, really good. Scientists have created circuit boards based on mushrooms to make circuit boards run better. The female-led Expendables movie that would have had female action heroes joined together like their male counterparts has been lost forever, died in development hell. A 67-pound goldfish was caught in France. This is someone got tired of their goldfish, threw it into a pond, and then it just grew. It's massive 67-pound goldfish. Jan de Moon to direct the Blade movie. We finally have a director, and Jan de Moon. He was one of the directors of Lovecraft Country. Chandler Riggs popped up in a surprise cameo in the Walking Dead series finale, but not as Carl. Chandler Riggs just happened to be in the area when they were filming some of the bits for the series finale. Director Greg Nicotero, he was hanging out and just chatting with Greg Nicotero and the cast, stuff like that. And Greg Nicotero said, hell, we need an extra. Why don't you go, Chandler, why don't you just go over there? You don't have to even change anything. You can wear what you're wearing now. Just put this hat on and just pretend you're a farmer. And so they put him in the background of the scene. And there's a scene where you see him in the background as an extra, but it's actually Carl Chandler Riggs. So he made his way and was able to make his way into the Walking Dead series for now. And I find that freaking hilarious. Bob Iger is back as CEO of Disney. Bob Chaplin or whatever is out. A lot of people are very happy with that move. They were not happy when Bob Iger left and this guy came in, but now Bob Iger is back, and hopefully that'll be good for Disney and see how things go. Disney's doing good on their own right now, but Bob Iger was a good guy to have on your side. Ryan Reynolds has written a full Deadpool Christmas movie that I want to see now. But most people believe that we will never see it, but that's a shame because I really think we should be able to see it. And finally, it's about an hour and a half in, which is a bit more than I thought it would be. A giant bear attacks a giant inflatable Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I guess it thought it was a real deer and attacked it. So it's kind of funny. So that is it for this week's Dylan Knows. Slow news week, as we call it. Next week is December, ladies and gentlemen. So we're getting into December now. We only have 4 weekends before Christmas, something like that. So buckle up, Buttercup. Christmas is here. Meteorological winter hits on the 1st, and we'll see where we go from there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Watch the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Definitely go see it. It's on Disney Plus right now. I absolutely think you will love it. Thank you, and hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. Now we're back to normal for a little while. We're in Christmas mode now, so let's get going.